Is that? Okay, all right. So Alameda Connects and the Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District, we are actually two separate organizations, for those who don't know. And let's see, oh, went too fast. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is our staff. This is the whole thing. We do have a part-time social media intern, and of course our wonderful board of directors. Our Alameda Connects board president Doug Welts is on the phone today, and we have a couple of board members present. We have Janine Maxey and King, and we have somebody else come in. Okay, that's it. We do have an all-volunteer board, and we also. So what do we do and why do we do it? We always start off with what's the difference between the two organizations, because they often, just sort of get melded together. But Alameda Connects is a nonprofit organization. We're a 501c6. We actually started out as the Alameda Gateway Community Association. Then we rebranded in 2018 and changed our name to Alameda Connects, more in line with our mission. So we're 501c6 nonprofit, funded with membership dues. We provide services to the Alameda Corridor bid. So Sarah and I are actually employees of Alameda Connects, but we provide services to the bid under a service contract. We have a volunteer board, and really we view our mission as connecting the community, and we do that in a lot of different ways. The bid is actually a quasi-governmental organization. Municipal organization. So it was created by Lakewood City Ordinance in 2003. The business property owners voted to tax themselves with a mill levy. And we have a 7-member board that's appointed by Lakewood City. So we have to go through a formal process every year of requesting a resolution from council, appointing new board members when new members need to be appointed. And so that's the difference between the two organizations. We really both work for the same thing, to make Alameda a great place for people to go. I mean, when it comes down to it, that's really what it's all about, inspiring a thriving destination for the community. So how do we do that? So with the bid, we'll start off with talking about bid priority. So corridor beautification, that's the stuff that you see most often because it's out there for everyone to see. Things like the mural at Alameda Crossing, which we didn't specifically do, but we provided funding for it. Economic development and marketing, and corridor safety. And we'll talk more about what we do in all of these areas. And one that's missing that we actually have added is sustainability, but we'll talk about that later. So corridor beautification and wayfinding, and this is actually one of the artworks that we have. It's in the roundabout by the library. It's called Joyfully Dancing. The Discover Alameda Wayfinding Experience launched this year, and it's sort of a thing that's going to continue to have a launch process. We're not done with it yet. So what it does is create a unique experience using QR codes to link all of our art and history along Alameda. We have over 50 different art installations of different types, between sculptures, wall murals, bus shelter murals, traffic boxes, all along Alameda, and there's actually going to be more in the coming year. So a 5-mile point-to-point walk path connecting with segmented loops. So the whole experience encompasses all of this in art, nature, and we're going to be rolling out some signage over the next year for our landscaping. I'll talk about this a little bit later. So landscaping in most of Alameda from Wadsworth to Sheridan, with the exception of Zelmar and a couple of other areas wedged in there. And you can download the app. You can do it right there while you're sitting there. This presentation, so that you have it. Now, what you'll find in there is a couple of things. The major thing is you will find tours. So you could take an art tour. You could take a tour of our history icons. We currently have 14 of those, and we're going to have 16 by the end of the year, I think. So what the history, and I'll talk more about the history icons in just a minute when we come to that slide. I'm getting ahead of myself. But if you download the app, at either the App Store or on Google Play, you can see all of these things. And the tour will show you where they're located on the corridor. So you can walk, you can ride your bike, you can skateboard, however you want to do it. The idea is to get people out to do it, in an active transportation way. So download the app and you'll learn more. So in 2022, what is new on the corridor? Our History Icons program was expanded this year. We added a number of new icons, and you can take the tour currently. We're trying to get barcode stickers that stick. Some places they stick really well, other places they don't. So we're learning more about that, but we added these 5 this year, and we'll show you a little bit more about these. So the idea is, we don't have a whole lot of historic buildings. Either they were never there or they were torn down a long time ago, but we still want to tell those stories. And there still is, we really do have a lot of history on Alameda. So we found this idea for using these history icons, which are basically what they are, is lightly sandblasted impressions in the concrete that are then painted blue. And why do we paint it blue? Lakewood, yes, Short City Lakewood. And we added some new colors for the Ute icon based on the story of the tribe. And so we have a couple of other ones that are going to be added, but we'll go through these here. The Peterson Ranch at the Alameda Frontage Road at Chase Street. And this is a really great one because there are a lot of members of the Peterson still around. And so we were able to get a whole bunch of them out to take pictures. And there's 3 of them in this picture, but there actually were about a dozen that showed up. And the Peterson Ranch basically took up from Depew to Sheridan and then north to Bayonne at one time. It was a pretty significant, large-sized ranch. And they're quite a family. They're Swedish heritage, just hardworking farm stock people. They were really fun. It was really fun to go out and actually meet them. But you can learn more about the Peterson Ranch by taking the tour. For each one of these icons, there's a narrative, a short narrative description online. So if you take the tour, you can see that. So if you click on the app, it'll show you a picture of what the area looked like and a narrative description of it. Alameda and Yarrow, the Tally Ho restaurant. Who remembers the Tally Ho? Okay. It was here when I moved here, but I never went in there, and I'm actually really sorry that I never did. So it was the place to go at one time. And the Billy Wilson Trio was a band that played there, and this is the daughter, and darn it, I should have written down her name. I can't remember right now. So sorry. Anyway, she's the daughter of one of the owners of the Tally Ho restaurant. So it's right there by where Village of Belmar is now. But wanted to, include that in our history experience. Alameda and Harlan, Jack Kerouac on the road, 1949. He lived close to the intersection of Alameda and Harlan. He was actually on West Center. And we're going to be adding another icon for somebody else who was here in 1949, the Soul family. The Booker T. Soul was an African-American World War II veteran from Texas who came to Colorado after the war because he served in Europe and other places during the war, and he came home to Texas, and he said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. So he came north, and one of the places he visited was Denver. He said, I really like Denver, but even here he had a hard time buying a house. And but eventually they found a way to purchase a home, even though at first he was told when he approached the owner, no, you can't buy here because we're not allowed to sell to anyone but white. And but he was persistent, and he got some help, and he was able to buy a house. So anyway, they became real pioneers here in Lakewood. So they have their own history icon that's going to be at Alameda. Coming soon. The stencil is being made. Anyway, so the Halleck House, and this one is right in front of the Belmar Theater. And I call this Lakewood's original haunted mansion because that's really what it is. And it's sad that it's not there anymore, but we wanted to commemorate it anyway, because it was supposed to be a fantastic house. It was 4 stories. It had a ballroom on the top level. And according to reports that we've gotten, although there are no pictures of it, And basically, I had every room that is in the game Clue. And Charles Halleck was this lumber baron from Denver, and they used to have something called the Halleck Block. So it was Halleck, and he had a partner, Halleck and Howard, I think, and they were wealthy lumber barons, and they were in the construction industry. But it was very common at that time, if you were a wealthy person in Denver, to build yourself a house up in, well, it wasn't even a suburb, it was Jefferson County. And so he built this fantastic house, but sadly he died in 1906, and then his son, who inherited the house, died the same year. And then the widow of Charles Halleck never lived in the house. It just deteriorated. And if it was in your neighborhood, it would be a nuisance probably, but it could also be the really scary haunted house. So, okay, I better move on. I'm going too slow here. Ute Circle of Life. So we wanted to in some way commemorate or acknowledge the very important history of Native Americans in Lakewood. And we've contacted Cheyenne, Arapaho, and we were able to we did a call for entries, and we had an artist who was not actually from the Ute tribe, but she's indigenous, so she's originally from Puerto Rico. So she designed this, and this one is now at Salisbury in Alameda. It's really neat if you haven't been by to see it. And what I mentioned with the Works Progress Administration monument, so we relocated it from Alameda. Anybody asks you, where did it go? It went to Benton and Alameda. And the reason we moved it was nobody could see it where it was. And one interesting side note about that was that when our contractor went in, they had to remove the old monument. And what he said was, it's built like a bunker from World War II. And this is maybe as tall as this. But he had to basically blast it out of the ground to get it out of there. But so the plaque is now in a much better place where people can see it. It's in a safer location because it had some vandalism previously. So it's at Benton and Alameda in front of the Welcome sign. Okay. A couple of things we were able to do with our grants program, our GROW grants, we expanded in the past year. This is the top one is a mural at Belmar behind where the GQ barbecue is. And then the second one is the Alameda Crossing mural that I had mentioned. So art is just one of the things businesses can do with GROW grants. And we've got a couple of other things where facade and parking lot improvements and then lighting improvements. So sustainable landscape management, and I just took this picture recently. So the Alameda Port of Bid took over management of the landscape maintenance on Alameda back in March, and working with a contractor, and we're still doing this under intergovernmental agreement with the city and the Lakewood Reinvestment Authority, and they have been really fantastic throughout this process. They actually paid to replace a lot of the tree plants on Alameda, and it's going to be really a process of making this more sustainable as we go through to make sure that, for example, stuff gets recycled, and I'll come to in a minute to some of our stats on how much material is collected out there every year, as well as looking very closely at our water use. That's a pretty significant area. Yeah.
You're walking on the sidewalk there. They look beautiful, but they're so just to
And Teller? Okay. Yeah, we can talk to them about that. Belmar actually manages their own landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind
of intersection.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Probably the city.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. So trash and debris collected from October 21 to October 22. So 130,000, 104 pounds of trash and debris. There's a lot of stuff that gets thrown out. It's amazing in the era of, because I grew up with Keep America Beautiful, but some of it gets blown around. I understand that, but a lot of it's just stuff that gets chucked out the window. And when we didn't have somebody picking this up every single week, Sarah and I tried doing it on our own during the interim, and it was very difficult to keep up with. So a lot of stuff just gets thrown out, and fortunately, we have somebody now. They pick it up every Monday, and really, it looks a lot better than it used to. So landscaping for pollinators, if you go out in the spring and through the summer along Alameda, you will see a lot of areas with literally swarms. So the catnip and lavender plants in particular just are swarming with them. You can stand there and you just hear a constant buzz. And so we really keep that in mind about pollinators, the importance of protecting their habitat. Native grasses, particularly blue grama, which is the Colorado state official grass. If you didn't know that, you know it now. The low water use, it really creates the feel of a Colorado prairie. We have some beautiful stands of it on the strip that starts at Harlan and goes to the west from Telluride Truffle and a number of other areas as well. So we're hoping to expand that even more in the future.
And it's supposed to.
That's the way it's
You guys
supposed.
know it's supposed to.
Yeah, so she explained that, right? Exactly. Yeah, it's supposed to look that way. And part of the idea is that, native grass doesn't get mowed. It's not like bluegrass. So we want to convert more of it to native. But they did a great job designing this to begin with. And with native grasses like blue grama, little blue stem, and others, I don't want to nerd out too much about grasses, but the really wonderful thing about some of them is they turn a great golden color in the fall, and particularly the little blue stem, and we tried to protect that this year. So not everything gets neatly. So if you see grass that's growing like that, it's that way on purpose. It's not just because somebody forgot to mow it. So we do weekly inspections. We report graffiti, code violations. This is just part of the job of running a business improvement district, is you keep an eye on conditions constantly, because it doesn't take long for things to start going downhill. Strategic sponsorships, we believe those are very important. So we support Boys and Girls Clubs with a $25,000 annual sponsorship, and that's been since 2011. Young American Center for Financial Education, we started supporting them in 2016. Really both very important community institutions. I think that our board feels it's important to support. Sponsorships, City of Lakewood Earth Day, we started sponsoring in 2017. I was saying that's one of the elements of our sustainability program, sponsoring that program. We also sponsor the Lakewood Sounds Exciting Summer Concert Series, as well as Lakewood Cider Days. Belmar Cruiser Rides, we started these this year in partnership with Denver Cruiser Rides, and helping to promote Belmar businesses and getting people out in the Belmar area. So we had good attendance of between 35 and 40 riders on average for each one of the rides. And corridor security, and I'm going to have Sarah talk about this some more. Sarah is now has advanced septet certification through the National Institute of Crime Prevention. And we're going to be launching a security grants program. And the reason that we did this is we wanted to find a way to help our businesses with crime prevention. A lot of the burden is put on the PD, but we felt this was a way we could provide the service to the businesses on the corridor and take that weight off of the police department to have to, do that all the time. So crime prevention is an important thing, way that we can contribute to addressing the crime problem in Lakewood. And Sarah will talk some more about that. And Alameda Connects, sponsorships. And actually, Sarah, did you want to go ahead and come on up? I'll go through this, and then I'm going to have Sarah take over in just a minute here. So a number of different activity or events that we sponsor: Fire Muster, Bike to Work Day, Inspire Arts Week, Rock and Block Party, Camp Christmas. By the way, we'll be handing out hot chocolate and Rice Krispies tree at the first tree lighting. And no, I'm sorry that hot chocolate is not spiked. So we're not telling anyone you could bring it in. So anyway, and let's go camping at Bear Creek Lake Park, as well as Lakewood sustainability programs. And we have two Alameda Access 2 grants programs: Small but Mighty Small Business Grants, and Make a Difference grants for nonprofit organizations and schools. And this kind of lists all of our different, if you would like an actual paper copy of this, you can look over there. But we had a number of grant recipients this year for both of those two programs, which are going to continue next year as well. And again, this is kind of small print, but you can pick up a copy over there. Testimonials on the grants and different things that we've been able to do. So what's up in 23? We're really working hard on a exciting lineup of speakers. We actually have speaker stipends, so we're able to offer a little bit of money. It's not a whole lot, but we're doing that to try and bring in some new speakers on topics that would be of interest to the community on different things. This past year, we were able to bring in the state demographer. We had a couple of really good speakers on networking and communication, and we want to continue that in the coming years. So more on that later. In January, we're going to have Pam Feely is going to be there to tell us all about street names and resolve the mystery behind them. Why are those streets called those names? Why, what's the most common street name in America? I mean, just all kinds of stuff that you probably would find of interest. So events, grants, more bike and walking tours. Ghost tours will be back. We had 2 very successful ones this year, so they'll be back next year, hopefully with a paranormal investigation. And we don't stop there. And actually, Sarah, do you want to take over here?
Yeah, I'll take over.
Jabbering on for too
No,
long.
you're good. So most of you know me, but I'm Sarah Hath. I wanted to just touch base on SEPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design. One of the things that Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District has pledged to do is if you are in the district, we will come to you and do an assessment of your business or your property. That assessment gives you some pats on the back on things that you're doing well when it comes to safety and security, and it also makes suggestions you can implement. You're usually the whole purpose behind crime prevention through environmental design is to use your current and existing environment, change it in small ways that activate it positively and get rid of negative activity going on there. So if you'd like to do that, you can always email me at Sarah with an H, very biblical, at alamedaconnects.org. Again, that's Sarah at alamedaconnects.org. Okay, so one of the things that I take care of is the electronic Alameda Connects. Our weekly newsletters sent to over 3,000 households. In 2022, we had a newsletter open rate of 23%. The national average is 18%. So we're hovering up slightly above that, which is actually really, really good. Our social media, we did over 6,300 posts. We had a 16% growth in social media followers, which is great. That's a combined growth of all of them. We have 18% growth of impressions, engagements, which means those are your clicks, your likes, your shares, your little hearts. What we find gets the most attention are Tom's random photos of plants. So, I would think it would be something like the bike tours or this, that, or the other, but no, people love plants. So Tom's photos of plants, I'm going to make him go out and do more. The Alameda Connects website has this year had over 1,200 page views. It's a 12% increase from last year, which is fantastic because that's a hard boulder to roll uphill. The Alameda Corridor Business Improvement will be sectioned off of Alameda Connects in 2023, and it will have its own website so that we can be ADA compliant. AC will also be ADA compliant, but a new Colorado law went into effect that says by, I think it's July of 2023, all special districts, government entities, so on and so forth, have to be ADA compliant 100%. So we're taking care of that. We had 89 people who used the Discover Alameda app in 2022. So we're looking to get 150 or more. So you don't have to download the app right here, right now. You can just go right out to one of the traffic boxes or any of our wayfinding signs. And if you tap that QR code, it will take you directly to the app. From there, you can download it and do your own tour, or you can just gather the information you're trying to gather from the artist that's right there that you're looking at their piece. Our signature events. So this is one of them, our community meetings. We did Movie in the Park again at O'Kane Park this year. Unfortunately, the winds kicked up and we had to cancel it. We had over 100 people attend. It was such a nice, beautiful night, but you can actually see in that photo, that's the storm coming in. So we had to cancel it. We'll do it again in 2023. We will make sure that we have a rain out date, or we'll use the new technology they have. It's like a whiteboard where it doesn't matter. You can do it in the middle of the day when it's nice and bright and sunny outside and you can see the screen perfectly. Of course, Tom mentioned the cruiser rides. And then this year we're kind of transitioning over to a History and Pint event at Old 121. That'll be on November 16th, the day after the mayor's tree lighting. Tom and I just don't sit in the office. We go out and about and we do all these other activities with everything from Eaton Senior, National Night Out, the Elks Lodge. I just attended their Veterans Affair. If you ever have a chance to go, I'm sure they'll have another one next year, right, Jerry? Next year? Yep. West Metro Chamber, the Action Center, Spades Day, Spaghetti, and No Balls event. I work with Alameda International Junior Senior High for their CTE and BAM program, which is now I can't remember what CTE stands for, but the BAM is it's marketing. So it's all business. It's business and marketing. And these kiddos are going through a whole pathway since the 8th grade. This, in 2023, that'll be their first graduating class from the 8th grade all the way to the senior year. They have created businesses. They go to business fairs. They do lots of really cool things. We've recently started asking for volunteers to help us do projects throughout the corridor. And then one of the things I do love is the mock interviews. I do those with a couple of high schools, and they're really fun. We really have some really bright, intelligent kiddos out there, and they're just really fun to work with. In 2022, we applied for an AARP grant, and we got it. The AARP grant is a community challenge grant. It provides small grants for quick action projects. There were 3,200 applicants nationwide. 260 grants were awarded, and Alameda Connects received $1,200 to what?
12,000, right?
Oh, 12,000. Sorry, yes, $12,000. That was my budget. There goes my budget. Yeah. At the 5800 West Metro Housing Solutions Complex, there will be, Metro West Housing Solutions Complex, there will be a new concrete pad with a seating area and a trash receptacle. Also, it'll have a ground mural. Across the street at Easter Seals, we have a ground mural at the current seating area that already existed. And then down the street at the corner of Alameda and Pierce, there is a ground mural there now as well. We used volunteers from Eaton Senior, McLean High School, Access Galleries in Denver, which their instructors and their students are all special needs or disabled in some way. And we created some great friendships between Eaton Senior. And so this is Easter Seals before. This is Easter Seals after. This was designed by the student from Access Galleries. Her name is Allie B. This is the seating area at Pierce and Alameda. And this is seating area now. So this is a SEPTED strategy to bring some life to an area that shows ownership. We were showing folks who are in and around Lakewood that we take care of this place, we like it, so we wanted to keep it nice and clean. I'm gonna go back and say something about, well, no, I'll say it later, sorry. I'm moving on now. So another project that we had was the Lakewood Neighborhood Participation Grant. Weir Gulch Community Garden, Sustainable Garden applied for this grant for $60,000. They were awarded the grant, and Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District spearheaded the project. What we did was we had a local artist named Ratha Sock. He created a design for the retaining walls and the entrances to the tunnels. Then a company called Creative Consortium out of Colorado Springs actually printed a different design, but matching his idea. And they, well, I guess for lack of better terms, wallpapered the inside of the tunnel. That way, if gets graffiti, it can just be wiped off. It's a very long tunnel. It's 182 feet long. There was new lighting. So the old wall packs were taken down and new wall packs were put up. The old wall packs made the tunnel look a bit just scary. LED Supply Company here in Lakewood is taking care of all that electrical work and the new lighting. Lakewood Parks Department and Community Resources has been valuable in helping guiding us through this project. Lakewood Economic Development helped support the project financially. The bid, Alameda bid also helped support the project financially with that NPP grant. And the Lakewood Heritage Culture and the Arts is also putting in some funding. So this is before of the tunnel. Some of the photos are a bit small, but like I said, it's a very long tunnel, very long retaining walls. And then this is after. This is the retaining walls. Those were completed last summer. Then I have a special, let me get out of here. And I'm pretty sure the folks online can hear this, but I'm not 100%. So I apologize if you cannot. But this is our tunnel now. Well, before. So you get the idea there. You like my ominous music, Katie? It captured it perfectly. I can't get away from this. There we go. Let's get back here. The next step in the Weir Gulch pedestrian trail will be to install the interactive lighting that will go on the other side. So those old wall pack security lights have been taken down. New ones have been put up. They're there now. Next week, you will see interactive lighting that will be colored. So when you hit the tunnel, it will interact with you as you walk. We're really excited to have that done. So maybe another scary ominous video will be coming next. So our goal is always, it's always about Lakewood. Everything that we do is about Lakewood, residents and businesses that live here. These are just some images from the grants that were used from Make a Difference. New trash receptacle bins that were made by Warren Tech are now a part of the Dinosaur Ridge front yard facelift project. Great Works Montessori School was able to get a new sign. The hub at Green Mountain High School took these kiddos to girls in construction. So they went and did a whole day of learning construction. Eaton Senior worked with the symphony and took a group of folks over to the symphony and had a great time. One of our shade structures is used, this is a resident, Russell, I think his name is. He used the shade structure and the bike repair station that's there at that shade structure down on the east end of the Alameda corridor. Ratha Sock, he's one of our artists that we used for the tunnel and a couple other art mural projects we have around the corridor. He started as an illegal tagger. He transitioned to a paid artist, and now he is currently working to buy land or warehouse here in Lakewood for his very first studio. Cycling Without Age. We started with our tour with just a piece of paper where Gary Hardy and the folks would come over and pick a piece of paper up from us and take these folks on the tour. Then we laminated it, and so that made it a little bit better. But now they have the Discover Alameda app that they'll use. They can use it on their phones, or the tour guide can help with that. The AARP project, which really was an inspiring project. Sean Berrigan was one of the artists. He said it was a great day. This was his third legal mural that he'd ever done. He will be graduating art school in just a few months, and he lives here. He wants to open a tattoo shop once he's finished with art school. I think the most profound statement of my life happened between an Eaton senior, or a McLean High School senior student, and an Eaton senior resident, where they looked at me and they said, "Today you gave me purpose." Nobody has ever said that to me. What was really neat about having our volunteers that were of different ages and different cultures and just totally different background They came into the project all kind of kicking the dirt, not really excited about being there. By the end of this project, they were hugging each other. The kiddos had painted their handprints on the Eaton seniors' pants. They were exchanging numbers. It was a really, really neat project to watch them. And they really blossomed, both groups. Let's see what else we have here. So what does Alameda Connect's membership go to support? Our community meetings, our newsletter and social media, our Make a Difference grant, and our Small But Mighty grant, and cultivating and transforming Lakewood. That's why we do it. This is a list of our membership in the packet here in the room. If you want to flip to that page, if you have one, you can have this list and you can see the costs and the benefits associated with the Alameda Connect's membership. Our resident membership is as low as $25 annually. In the businesses, if you are in the Curtis Norris building, which is where Village Roaster is, Belmar, Lakewood City Commons, and Alameda Crossing, you get what's called a tenant membership. It's a reduced rate, but you still have the same benefits as a basic or business membership. So we want you to know that if you continue, you really feel that your values align with our values and the way we're going with Alameda Connects and what we're continuing to do, we ask you that you help support the membership because of everything that we just listed and why we do it. Your membership is valuable to us. It continues to help us do everything that we do. Those QR codes you can click right now. If you're in the room, you can get a paper copy and you can click it on before you leave. We encourage you to do that. And that's it for our presentation today.